If you're new to Cancer and Careers, we are a national nonprofit and the only program of its kind that's solely dedicated to empowering and educating people with cancer to thrive in their work environment. I want to start by acknowledging that each person here may be at a different stage in their cancer experience. Today, we're going to discuss a variety of topics related to work after a cancer diagnosis, understanding that not all of them may be relevant to every single person at this moment. But my hope is that you're able to take away something useful, whether that's for today or in the near future. When facing a diagnosis, one of the key questions are, how important is work to you? What information do you need to make decisions in this context? Reflecting on these questions can be helpful for both those that are just starting out and then also for those who have already navigated some of these decisions, allowing them to assess whether their current situation still works for them or maybe some adjustments may be needed. Then other questions start to arise, like what are your financial or insurance needs? How does your identity connect with work? There are also personal aspects to consider, like family obligations and what you need in order to manage stress. The idea is that while these questions may sometimes be in conflict with each other, they can help you make informed decisions that align with your specific situation. Gathering information is an important step in the process that can help guide your active decision making. To simplify this process a little bit, we have decided to divide the different types of information that you need to collect into 3 categories, which you can see here. The first being medical and treatment information, workplace information, and finally, legal information. Now, I want to clarify, I am not a lawyer, but I do want to provide a foundation for understanding the Americans with Disabilities Act, or the ADA. The ADA is a federal law that protects people with disabilities in the workplace across all U.S. states and territories, including Puerto Rico. The part that is relevant to the work and cancer piece comes from Title I, and like all laws, it has certain requirements that must be met in order to use them. In broad strokes, they are: your employer must have a minimum of 15 employees for the law to apply to them. You must have the necessary skills, certifications, etc., to do the job. Your disability must meet the criteria determined by the ADA. If you meet all of these requirements, the ADA protects you against discrimination and may also provide access to reasonable accommodations, which we're going to talk a little more about later on in the presentation. Now, it's important to note that immigration status does not affect a person's right to protection under the ADA, as the law applies to everyone within U.S. jurisdiction. However, some people may still hesitate to seek these protections due to the potential risks associated with that. Again, this is just a quick overview so that you know that the ADA is something that you may consider, and I encourage you to speak to a legal professional in order to determine if you're eligible to use the ADA's protections. Now, it's also critical to spend some time thinking about the kinds of decisions that you're going to be making related to disclosure, so that you're able to make these choices about sharing your story in a way that works best for you. These include making clear decisions about what gets shared in your personal life, where maybe you have people that you're completely open with, versus your work life where you may be a little more closed off. And then there's a third area of disclosure that may have its own set of complexities and things to consider, and that is the online space. At Cancer and Careers, we often hear from patients and survivors about the role that the internet plays in their jobs and how, not in their jobs, and helps them through their cancer experience. For many, it creates a sense of community and a way to feel better in the moment. But it does also create a written record of information that can be, quite honestly, difficult to get rid of. Now, I want to be clear that I'm not saying never post anything online, since it can actually be quite a good thing to have an online presence, but rather that it's important for people to have a solid understanding of the virtual space in order to make informed decisions and feel in control of how their story is being presented. And in part, this is because research indicates that more and more hiring managers, as well as existing employers, are Googling prospective candidates and current employees respectively. Now, this is not necessarily to find anything negative about the person. Rather, for hiring managers, it's often done to confirm things that they already like about a particular candidate. And for current managers, it's to get additional information about the people that they currently work with. Still, it's possible that they might come across a post on Facebook or Instagram containing information that maybe you didn't want the employer to know about. Now, it's important to keep in mind that even if you have privacy settings in place, social media policies are constantly changing. So it's also helpful when keeping this in mind to also communicate what your preferences are, even if you have privacy settings in place, with friends and family, and to monitor what they post. Keep in mind that online information is hard to control and can impact job opportunities. Some practical tips are Google yourself. You'll want to know what comes up on a Google search. That way you'll be ahead of the ball and be able to respond to anything that may come up. Use popular social media websites strategically. Keep it professional and polite. Create a professional website or blog. This is a great way to control your own narrative by putting out information that you'll want to be easily found on a Google search. Delete old posts. They're still going to be there somewhere, but they'll be harder to find. Your potential new boss does not need to see embarrassing photos of you at a party in 2010. And last but not least, think strategically about what it is that you post. We often recommend to people to run each post through a filter. Like, would you want your boss, current or future, or coworkers to know about this? Would you want this on the front of your favorite news website or blog? Would you want your grandmother or mother to see this? Thinking about these aspects now can help protect your privacy while also building an online presence that reflects your best professional self. When considering disclosing a diagnosis, it can be helpful to view it as a spectrum. First, ask yourself how it is that you feel about sharing the news and why it is that you want to do that. You might want to disclose for support, or maybe it's to access legal protections, or maybe you prefer to keep it private. And all these options are valid, and in many cases, you're not required to disclose health details at work unless you're seeking a specific protection, such as an accommodation under the ADA. If you do decide to disclose, you can do so gradually and only share what's necessary at each stage, knowing that once that information is shared, it can be quite difficult to take back. Also, consider your work situation. Someone with a trusted relationship at their job may make different choices than maybe someone that just started or is job searching. It's important to think about workplace culture as well, like who might be a support to you, such as a supervisor or HR representative. And then to plan conversations based on your level of comfort with that person. And remember, these could be multiple conversations. For those working remotely, avoiding accidental disclosure is also key. Keep your personal space free of items that you don't want to display. Use virtual backgrounds like the one that I'm using, or a blurred background. And check that there are no visible files or notifications that appear if you're sharing your screen. In short, choose carefully what to share and how to do it, considering what your needs and preferences are. Now, when considering disclosure during a job search, remember that the goal of your resume and cover letter is to highlight your skills and potential, not necessarily your diagnosis or treatment. You are not required in most cases to include this information, So it's so sometimes for most situations, it is best to save it for later on in the process if you choose to share it all. Now, this allows employers to get to know you first based on your capabilities and personality. And regarding the optional demographic questions on job applications, it's completely valid to select the preferred not to answer choice. If you choose not to disclose a disability, consider selecting the same option for all demographic questions to avoid any potential misunderstandings or accidental disclosures. Now, I'd like to take a moment to discuss side effects. The most common one that we are asked about is chemo brain or mental fog. This type of fog can happen whether or not you've had chemotherapy. And unfortunately, there's no quick fix, but some strategies can help. Instead of multitasking, focus on one task at a time. Make a priority list, turn off notifications, and write everything down so that you don't have to rely on your memory alone. Use a single notebook to keep your tasks organized. Practice important conversations in advance can also be very, very helpful. If you work in an office type environment and you have a shared calendar, blocking out some time to be able to focus on your work can help minimize distractions. Additionally, simple stress relief techniques like deep breathing can really help improve concentration. And we have a Chemo Brain one sheet that has these tips detailed and additional tips as well, which are very helpful, and it's linked on the slide. Another key tool for managing treatment side effects is reasonable accommodations, which are protected under the Americans with Disabilities Act, like we mentioned, or the ADA. These modifications to your job, schedule, or work environment can help meet your essential responsibilities. Examples include adjusting your schedule, such as working 7 to 3 rather than 9 to 5. If that's something that works better for you and how you're feeling throughout the day and your energy levels. Taking additional breaks throughout the day, requesting time off for medical appointments with the option to make up hours later. Now, it's important to remember that most accommodations are not expensive. And according to the Job Accommodation Network, most cost nothing or less than $500 to the employer. Now, think about what you need in your work environment and don't hesitate to seek legal advice if you have specific questions. Also, it's crucial to remember that what helps you today may change tomorrow. So this is going to be an ongoing conversation and it's not a one-time fix. It's important to think about how we communicate with supervisors and coworkers when your needs are changing throughout treatment and post-treatment. Ask for clarity on priorities. Set clear boundaries. Create a written plan. Professional communication remains key even when you're feeling exhausted. To help, you can use phrases like, "Thank you for thinking of me for this project, but I'm at capacity this week." I appreciate the offer of extra hours, but I have family commitments at this time. You can also use the swivel technique when responding to cancer-related comments, which is acknowledging them while then redirecting the conversation back to a work topic. And we have more examples of the swivel on our website, which I can share in the chat later. Now, not everyone stays in the same job after a cancer diagnosis. Some look for new opportunities due to physical changes or changes in interest. Unfortunately, job searching can be an emotional roller coaster, but approaching it strategically can help you regain control. It's important to manage emotions and really do seek support from a professional if needed, like a social worker or psychologist. Many survivors, unfortunately, feel pressured to share more about their health than is really necessary. But remember, job searching is like a relationship. It's about knowing when to share and projecting confidence. While many things may feel out of control, and they quite honestly are sometimes, you can focus on refining your resume, improving your cover letter, and building your professional network. Now, according to one of our career coaches, currently more than 85% of jobs are found through professional connections, not job boards or recruiters, which really highlights the importance of networking. Keep an open mind, as everyone you meet could be a valuable connection. LinkedIn is key, with 87% of recruiters considering it the most effective tool for evaluating candidates. However, do not limit yourself to professional contacts. Anyone in your community, anyone in your sphere can expand your network. While networking can feel uncomfortable, and it does for me sometimes, most people are willing to help if you clearly express what you need and make it a reciprocal relationship. Remember, just letting people know that you're looking for opportunities is a crucial step. As important as networking, LinkedIn, and your overall online presence are for job searching, they do not replace the time-tested tools of job hunting, starting with the resume. The general rule for a resume is 1 page for early career professionals and 2 pages for more seasoned candidates. Including a profile or summary at the top can help capture an employer's attention. Using keywords is also essential since many employers are using application tracking systems to filter resumes. Make sure you include only relevant professional information and describe your experience with specific examples instead of vague phrases. For example, instead of saying you're detail-oriented, explain how you identified an error that prevented a financial loss. Tailoring your resume, again, with keywords from the job posting itself can also increase your chances of being considered and picked up by those application tracking systems. In addition to a resume, the cover letter is a key part of the hiring process. It should be tailored to the specific position that you're applying for and highlight what makes you unique for the job without just simply repeating what you wrote on your resume. This is your chance to showcase your communication skills and how your abilities align with the company's needs. Make sure, and I cannot emphasize this enough, to proofread carefully. Mistakes like using a generic letter can make or break your chances of getting a callback and negate the detail-oriented claims you made on your resume or cover letter. Now, one of the advantages of living in today's digital age is that you can Google to research potential employers, and you definitely should. Before your interview, try to learn as much as possible about the company. Not only will this help you sound informed, but it's also smart to take some time to assess whether that company is a good fit for your needs. Now, when preparing for an interview, focus on how you can solve problems and meet the employer's needs. Use specific examples again from past jobs to demonstrate your skills. Do not be afraid to make the conversation feel natural, as well as the interviewers are looking for a personal fit as well as a professional fit. If you're asked about a work gap, be honest, but keep your answers brief and positive, highlighting how you've continued growing and developing your skills. We recommend, again, using techniques like the swivel and practicing your responses so that they feel natural, helping you redirect the focus to what it is that you're bringing to the role. And one of the best things about starting a new job with a new employer is that it's a fresh start. Remember, you don't need to work a million hours. Instead, focus on creating a simple plan. It's important to learn and understand what success looks like at your new company. Make sure you also take care of yourself physically and mentally. And most importantly, remember that people don't get hired with the hopes that they'll fail. They get hired with the hope that they'll succeed. Finding the right person for a job takes time and is expensive. So your new employer is going to try to do everything possible to ensure your success in your hire and the investment that they made in you. And with that, here's my contact information. If I'm not able to get to anyone's question today, please feel free to email me directly with any questions. And that's our website with more information on what we just talked about.